What's happening, everybody? I'm Allie Burns from Picks and Parlays, and it's time for another Picks and Parlays Power Hour. We're talking all things basketball today, college and pros, and I've got two expert handicappers with me, Ross Benjamin and Nick Parsons, that are going to break down four games. Before we get to those four games, I got to tell you guys about NoHouseAdvantage.com. All right, this is for all my fantasy players out there, and fantasy baseball season is right around the corner. So you guys want to get yourself hooked up with NoHouseAdvantage.com. When you use our promo code P&P, they're going to match your first deposit up to $50. Okay, so you guys don't want to miss out on NoHouseAdvantage.com. All right, so up first, I've got expert handicapper Ross Benjamin here to talk a little K-State at Kansas. Ross, I've been talking about this game all morning long. This Kansas line just keeps growing. Last night it was a 7.5. It was an 8 when I was doing the Morning Wood show less than an hour ago, and now we're already at an 8.5. So I can't figure it out. K-State plus points looks way too easy for me. What do you got on this one, Ross?
Yeah, I'm going to look at the total. But before I get to that, Ellie, just a friendly reminder to all the viewers out there. I'm on a 16-7 all sports run over the last 8 days at Picks and Parlays. Also back to August the 10th at Picks and Parlays, 127-99 with all my picks. Dime players are up just short of 17,000 during that course of time. College basketball 52-38 since November 17th. In the NBA on a 15-8 run with my last 23. Yeah, I'm going to take a look at the total, Ellie, because the side to me, I agree with you, is a little tricky. Yeah, I think they're banking on the fact that Kansas is playing at home and playing with revenge after losing 82-81 in overtime at Kansas State earlier this season. That game was tied 71-71 at the end of regulation time. So it did barely stay under the total in regulation. However, it did go over the total as a result of the overtime session. And there was a combined 67 free throw attempts in that game. I know some of them came in overtime, but the majority came in regulation time. And that's an extremely high number for a college basketball contest. Yeah. And a lot has to do with the rivalry and the physicality of that matchup. And I foresee the same thing happening tonight. I don't know if we'll see 37 free throw attempts, but I think we're going to see in the low 30s to high 20s. And that will help the cause in terms of what I'm doing on the total. This is a Kansas State team that went under the total in their last game. They defeated Florida 64-50 at home, and that game stayed well under the total of 138. They held Florida to 31% in that game. However, Kansas State has followed their last 6 times they've gone under with an over. So also Kansas State this season has gone 5-1 to the over in the immediately following the game in which they held their opponents to less than 40%. Kansas averaging close to 78 points per game, shooting over 48% and close to 38% for the three-point line at home. I'm going Kansas State over 145.5.
Okay, that makes me feel good for 2 reasons. One, if that Kansas State's defense is solid, Kansas not so much, right? They're going to let you score. They're going to score as well. So with the line at a -8, -8.5, I'm thinking they've got it like if Kansas is going to cover 8 points, they've got to outscore Kansas State. So that would lead me to think it's an over. The numbers that I was working were actually on the first half, and my play was Kansas State over 68.5 first half. So I'm with you on this. Let's roll with the over when these two powerhouses meet again for the rivalry in Kansas. Okay, so we agree on our first one. I like that a lot. Also, everyone, before we get to our free NBA pick, don't forget about our new promo code. It's super. All right. It saves you 25% off. And like Ross just told you, he's really hot right now. So head over to picksandparlays.net, use that promo code super and save yourself 25% off. All right. Okay. So Lakers at the Knicks. This is another one that's been highly contested. It was Knicks -2. Then it was -1.5. Now we're back up to a 2. It's moving all around. I've heard LeBron is in tonight. So that's always a big
Yeah.
factor when it comes to the line moving around. And we got a total of 231.5. What are you looking at in this one?
Yeah, this morning when I first handicapped this game, because I knew I was going to have to do it on the show,
Mhm.
it was -3 for the Knicks. And Fox
Mhm.
Sheets was indicating to me both LeBron and Anthony Davis would be out. Then around noontime, all of a sudden, this line went to 1.5, and lo and behold, I checked, and now LeBron's going to play. So this is why I hate the NBA. I mean, I
Yeah.
do okay in it, but I hate the NBA because they're a wealth of misinformation. Is
Yes.
bottom line. It's just
And
like
that's
you
what we're
can't.
trying to do here. We're trying to make money on free information, but we need good information to do it. So, yeah.
Exactly, exactly. And I can't believe that these sports books would not, since they're sponsoring a lot of these NBA teams, would not demand more transparency from the NBA teams in the future. So we'll see what happens there. That's a discussion for another day.
Right.
This will be the Lakers' third game in 4 nights, Ellie. Both of them, all three of them now will be on the road. And they lost their last two. They lost last night in Brooklyn without LeBron and Anthony Davis. They lose by 17. Saturday night was an overtime loss to Boston. And the Knicks, on the other hand, are playing with 2 days rest.
Mhm.
The Knicks are coming off the loss at Brooklyn on Saturday. And, I was just curious because when you get teams that are playing with 2 days of rest, 2 or more days rest, and they're playing a team who's in their third and 4 days all on the road. It's a favorable situation for teams like the Knicks in that situation. And then I look at an NBA angle just this season. NBA home teams playing on 2 days of rest and coming off a division loss like the Knicks have gone 13-2 straight up this year. I'm going to go with the money line here, Ellie.
Yep.
I'm going
Me
to take
too.
the New York Knicks. They're right now around a -120, and I'm going to take them on the money line. It's a small lean, folks. Remember, I've been assigned this game. I didn't pick it myself. So
No excuses, Ross. All right. Games are
I know,
games. We
but I
count
just
them.
wanted to preface that because I'm hot with my premium picks, pay
Right.
picks. So
Absolutely. We talked about this on the Morning Wood show today, and that was the play I gave was the Knicks as well. There's a lot of times where I like to fade an injury report, like Embiid is out, and
yeah,
so no
yeah,
one wants to play the Sixers. I like to play the Sixers in those situations because I figure I get a good line. When it comes to the Lakers, I like to fade the we're not injured report, because I think that jumps their lineup in a whole
yeah.
different way. But this was the way that I played it on the show this morning as well, was the Knicks on the money line. And you got to think they were in Brooklyn. Well, where's Brooklyn? It's in New York, just like the Knicks are. So even
Yeah.
in their last game on the road, they weren't traveling. They've got their 2 days off. They've had a chance to watch the Lakers play for the past 2 days. So I'm with you. We're going to roll with the Knicks on the money line. That's how we're playing this. Guys, don't forget, Ross Benjamin is hot in the NBA. Head over to picksandparlays.net. Use our promo code SUPER. And it's going to save you 25% off whatever you buy from Ross. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. Ring that bell for notifications. Power Hours on every Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Thank you so much, Ross. I'll see you again next week.
All right. Thank you, Ellie.
Cheers, cheers, cheers. Okay, so up next from the insiders room, we've got Nick Parsons, and Nick Parsons is on a bit of a win streak right now. In the last 7 days, you're number 4 on the site, number 4 on the hottest cappers, 16-8. You're up almost $700, Nick Parsons. How's it going, friend?
Yeah, closing out January on a hot streak. So let's keep the good times rolling here on Tuesday, Allie.
So just like the Kansas State and Kansas game, Wake Forest and Duke has given me a hard time also. I know it was stuck at an 8 for a long time, and most of the money was on Wake, but now we've got Duke up to an 8.5. I'm like a huge Duke fan. That's my squad. Duke, killer team at home. I think they're 10-0 at home.
Yeah.
This just feels like it might be too many points, though. What do you got on this, Parsons?
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I think there's value here on this underdog, but I mean, 2 decent teams here. Wake Forest, as you said, it has about 65% of the public money to begin with. The Deacons, they're 14-8. The Blue Devils, they're 15-6. And as you mentioned, they are a perfect 10-0 at home. And the Deacons, they're just 3-4 on the road. But it is Duke that plays with revenge here. The Devils, they lost 81-70 at Wake Forest. They were 6.5-point favorites just before Christmas there. I mean, last year, Wake was one of the best stories in college basketball. It finished 25-10, but in the end, the Deacons got snubbed. They didn't get to go to the tournament. They were one of the last teams left out. Wake did open the ACC this year with a 6-2 record. It's since lost 3 straight. Duke, you say, is your team, but for sure it's sort of taken a step back this season as well. I mean, obviously Coach K is gone. It hasn't been smooth sailing all the time for the Blue Devils. It's been really inconsistent over the last month. Duke has. It's been beating up on the teams that it should be and sort of struggling against the better teams. It's 6-4 in conference play, but those victories have come over Boston College twice, Florida State, Pittsburgh, Miami, and Georgia Tech. I mean, this is the bottom barrel of the conference. Really, anytime that Duke has been tested this year, it's really struggled. Wake Forest won that first game by double digits. It did that with its best player, Tyree Appleby. He just went 2 of 8 from the field in that game. Wake Forest, it does come in on a 3-game losing streak, but I say that just adds fuel to the fire here, Ali. And also note that the last 2 have come by a combined 4 points. So, yeah, I like the points here. I just think that Duke's going to struggle to cover this larger spread. And I know that you like these sort of money line bets. I think there's value here on an upset here on the road. And so my main wager, grab the points, but I also sprinkle a little on the money line.
Whoa. Okay. So Duke takes their first loss at home against Wake. Holy cow. I don't know if I'm willing to sprinkle a money line, but I'm not going to bet this game because I don't bet on my team, first of all. But I agree to go with the points. I really do, especially Duke coming off of that snot. They beat the snot out of Georgia Tech, so I think everyone's really high on them right now. Those numbers are inflated. Georgia Tech's not a good basketball team. They're just not, so I got to agree. I hate to say it, but 8.5, I don't think they win, but I think they cover. Is where I'm at on this one. That's how I'm going to play this one. Okay, everyone, don't forget about that promo code I reminded you about. It's super, and it saves you 25% off everything at picksandparlays.net. And that includes the Insiders Room. Nick Parsons, they are kicking butt over there. Number 4 on our hottest cappers list, 16-8 over the last 7 days. So check out the Insiders Room and use the promo code SUPER. Okay, let's roll into the NBA. This, out of all 4 games I had to do on the show today, this one I just don't know about. The other 3, I kind of had an opinion. This one, I'm not sure. So we got the Heat at the Cavs. Cavs are a -4. The total is a 210.5. A lot of my Morning Woodies on the Morning Wood show were on the Heat today. I was kind of leaning more towards Cleveland with their home record, their ability to cover. What do you think's going on in this one?
I'm kind of going with the Woodies then, actually, here on this one. Right. This is an interesting matchup. I mean, obviously, Cleveland was expected to improve this year from last season, but Miami, it was, one of the favored to win the East. The Heat, they do come to town with a 28-23 record, but it's Cleveland that has the better record of 31-21. Miami, it's just 11-14 on the road. The Cavs are 21-5 at home. But yeah, I think that the Woodies are pretty sharp here. They're a bit contrarian, I think. Grabbing the points with the hungry underdog here, I think, is the sharper move. And so I have a few against the spread stats that support this.
Okay.
Miami, obviously its 3-game win streak did come to an end in a 122-117 loss at Charlotte, but that is important to note because Miami is 7-3 against the spread in its last 10 off a straight up and against the spread loss as a favorite. It plays with revenge here as well after a 113-87 loss at home to Cleveland as a 7-point dog at the start of the season. And so, here's another one. The Heat, they are 9-2 against the spread in their last 11 and trying to avenge a straight up and against the spread loss in which they were held to 95 points or fewer in. Now, Cleveland, it's been trading against the spread wins and against the spread losses. It's coming off the 122-99 win over the Clippers as an 11-point favorite. And so I think that this pattern continues here. I think it's going to be a competitive affair, so I'm grabbing the points.
All right. That settles it then. Morning Woodies. Nick Parsons says you are on the right side of it. So great work, Woodies. We're taking the Heat plus the 4 points. I like that. They've covered 7 out of their last 10. I mean, you sold me. You sold me, Parsons. People at home, don't forget, if you want to get on Nick Parsons' best bets, find him over at picksandparlays.net and look for the Insiders Room. Use our promo code SUPER to save you 25% off the site. And also, don't forget, like, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications. We're on every Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Thanks so much, Nick Parsons. Thanks to the Insiders Room, Ross Benjamin, and good luck today, everyone. Let's make some cash.